screen. Hope everybody could see that, inshallah. Hi, Assalamu alaikum everybody. My name is Rashan Haggan. In case you don't know who I am currently an academic dean in a pre-K through 12th grade school. It's a Quaker school, it's not an Islamic school, but I've worked before this in Islamic schools. And I'm currently the facilitator for the admin hybrid learning course that some of you are in, and this is our second session doing it. We just finished the first session, which just finished this past Friday with about 50 plus school admin. And so now we have about 30 plus right now, which is amazing. And I'm really looking forward to building relationships again through this second iteration. We're hard at work designing a teacher hybrid course that builds off of what the admin course. And so this will be the kind of the teacher version. So I'll go through really quickly, knowing that we have a little bit of time, and I know Sheza is going to be sending this information out through IECN as well. So I'll go through it quickly and then leave some questions, time for you to ask questions about the course. So the purpose of the course is for teachers to learn how to design, build, and deliver their courses while understanding that there might be a toggle, right? And so how do I design virtually and then shift to face-to-face? How, if I'm in face-to-face, then how do I go to virtual? And so it really talks mainly about how to design your courses virtually in a way that is conducive to student engagement. Even if your school is planning on opening up face-to-face, it's really important that you have a contingency plan, because at any point in time you might have to close. And from what we learned in the last spring, going from face-to-face to virtual is much harder than going virtual to the other way around, virtual to face-to-face. And so it behooves you to make sure that your teachers are prepared to plan virtually, even if you're going to be delivering face-to-face. This is really a boot camp. And so by the end of these 3 weeks, yes, teachers' brains are going to hurt them a lot. There will be lots of steam, especially in week number 2. It's a boot camp. We acknowledge that. We make them feel good about it. We validate it. But it'll also essentially give them the tools that they need to hopefully be successful. I hope that teachers will be better prepared after the course than they were before the course. And I'll talk a little bit about the format, but really quickly, in week 1, we're gonna delve into the standards and principles of designing, building, and delivering a course. In the admin training, you guys are going to do a deep dive into those standards. You're going to take those standards and try to make them your own and make them satisfy and fit with your school's mission and vision. The teachers will use the standards to be familiarized with them and to know the difference between, and we break it down, designing a course, building a course, and delivering a course in the online world are 3 separate things more than they are in the face-to-face world. They will also do a self-assessment of the standards. So they'll look at the standards and say, okay, where am I right now? We're really trying to create a growth mindset. We will talk a lot about the friction that can happen. The friction that can happen in an online course is different than the friction that can happen in a face-to-face course. Students' frustration with technology will ultimately be transferred to their feelings about a teacher. And so and that's something different that doesn't necessarily happen in the face-to-face classroom. We'll talk about backwards planning and backwards design. We will train teachers how to do that. And then they will also be getting some feedback and training on how to write master competencies, which are these conceptual statements that really guide the courses. These are 3 to 5 big picture statements, and we walk them through how to do that. So that if they ever have to pare down a course, for example, we know in the online world, we might need to, what we would normally teach in face-to-face, we have to actually pare that down in the online world. We don't get to cover as much as we want to. How do we make those decisions? We make them based on the master company. What are those 5 main ideas, big ideas that students need to get in a year? And so that helps them pare down that course in a meaningful way. That's week 1. Week 2, the teachers will actually write their course map. So we have a course map template that we will be using, and they will be taking their master competencies that they created in week 1. They will be creating then their course maps. They will build a unit using that course map in their school's LMS. So it's really important that if you have your teachers taking this course, A, you need to know your LMS, and B, you need to have a template that all teachers will be using to be able to build their course in the LMS. In the admin training, we talk about why that's important, and then we give you examples of what templates can look like in various different LMSs. We will then delve deeper into how to introduce new material online. That, for me as a teacher, when I had to teach English last year, I was like, how do you even introduce? I know how to do it in a classroom. How do you do it online? That's where it's like, oh my God, right? So we talk about strategies on how to introduce new material online, how to assess online. Formative assessment seems to be a place where teachers struggle the most in the face-to-face classroom, and it's no different in the virtual classroom. So we share some tools and resources on how to do that, and then even how to reflect. Reflection is a huge part of an online course, more so than in a face-to-face course. A lot of teachers in face-to-face might skip over the reflection because they need to get to the content. In the online, in a virtual classroom, reflection becomes an even bigger part. At the end of week 2, teachers will be responsible for submitting their course maps and their first units to their administrators, and we will be communicating to administrators where teachers are throughout the 2 weeks. Week 3, we talk about the delivery of the online course. So they've designed, they've built, now we're going to talk about delivery with a specific emphasis on creating a safe environment. We will consider diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging considerations as we are asking teachers, how do you deliver a safe course that within a safe environment, making students feel like they belong. Building strong student-teacher relationships. How do you onboard students in the beginning of a year in a virtual mode? And so that's week 3. The format of the course is 3 weeks. It's completely asynchronous. There are no meetings. There are no synchronous meetings at all. It is class-paced. So at the end of the week, teachers have to engage in both content-driven and engagement-driven tasks that are due at the end of the week. I provide, or course facilitators will be providing feedback on their engagements. Each week is 1 module. And it's about approximately 4 to 5 hours of a week of work or of time that the teacher will have to dedicate every week. For those of you who are admin and I want to know what your teachers are doing, we're going to be creating, so you don't have to actually register yourself as a teacher, so you don't have to pay that fee. Any school that has teachers that will be registered for this course, we will provide an admin course shell, so you'll actually see what the teachers are doing in all 3 of the, you'll see our plan, what week 1, week 2, and what we're going to be asking them to do and how they're going to be submitting that. You'll see kind of a shell version of that, so you can anticipate what your teachers might need support in the next week that we, so every week of the course. For those of you, a lot of you have reached out to Shaza, which is, mashallah, amazing, and said, we want our entire staff to engage in the teacher course. Space will be limited, but for those of you who choose to do that, there will be, ISLA is going to provide you, those schools with 2 30-minute one-on-one sessions in which we can meet with you and say, okay, how's it going? And it could be anything you might decide to want to do the first session during the course, or after, or a few weeks after the course, to help answer your questions as you continue to guide and support your teachers in the weeks and months to come after school starts. And so that's my presentation. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Assalamu alaikum, Sister Resha. This is Reem. I had a quick question. Part of our summer planning is we kind of already asked our teachers to make a curriculum map and to do some lesson planning. And when I was hearing what you were saying would be happening in week 2, I don't want them to feel like they have done some work and now they're redoing it. Is there a way that, I know it's kind of like proprietary maybe or whatever, but could I see that, or could you maybe accommodate if we were to send our stuff? I don't want them to feel like they're having to duplicate work.
Sure. The template that we are going to send is really based on good teaching practices. Really what it is what are your master competencies? How are you going to break your unit down based on those master competencies? And then we give them some areas where they have to consider, how are you going to make students feel safe? What are some ideas for formative assessment? What are ideas for reflection that they will include in that course map? It's really a way for us to assess how they are understanding the work that's happening within the course that we're giving, that we're doing. So it's a way for me to say, okay, did they get what I was teaching, or did they not get what I was teaching? Whether that is formally has to be done for you guys and you require it or not, that is completely a school decision.
Yeah.
And so I would say, it's good for me to know this, because then as I'm designing the course, I could say, some of you might already have this course map. Here are some parts that I really need you. So let's say your course map doesn't include master competencies. I would, as to complete the course, I would need them to be able to show me that they're able to master that.
Sure.
And I would ask for them to, so this is more of a deliverable for the course, but if your school has their own course map, they don't need to submit that to you. They don't need to do anything with that. That's just for me to be able to formatively assess their learning.
And then tell me, so in terms of that second week, if you could, I don't know if you can go back to that slide just so I can, about the unit plans, or I have to jog my memory of what you said. So their course map, and then building a unit. Okay. Yeah, what we basically asked them to do is to pick their master competencies and then use those to build backwards. So I think it's in line with it. I just don't want them to feel like there's a redundancy or something like, oh, or, I want to make sure that they're aligned together. So maybe I can talk to you about it offline as well.
Yeah, Reem, you're the same Reem that was in the course, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm behind.
No, that's fine. So it's absolutely in line with what we did in the admin training, and so it's not at all different. It's just kind of giving them the tools that they need, and so really what it is, can they write a master competency? We're going to go through that, and I'm going to dedicate a lot of time and a lot of feedback, because that's where teachers struggle the most.
Sure.
How do you write that master competency? So if that's something that you're requiring in your course map, that should absolutely fit in really well.
All right, Jazakumullah khair. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Rasha, one question for you, kind of similar to that one, but for the last admin meeting, I had the 3 of my teachers, who are my lead teachers, part of the cohort, each lead teachers join in the last admin in the program, and it was an amazing course, and they've really got a lot out of it. And our goal was to go back and have those lead teachers go and teach the students or the teachers from their cohort. So my question is this something that is because I'm debating if I were to have my other teachers join in, or because you did say that about an admin course shall utilize that. So I'm just not sure if I need to get my teachers in there as well.
It really depends on the strength of your teachers. And so one of the things we do not do in the admin course is we don't walk through how to write master competencies, right? We talk briefly about backwards by design, but we don't, for example, share a course map to do that. That I feel like that's the teacher in the classroom that needs to do a lot of that legwork. How to introduce new material, the actual tools to assessing online. We don't go through that in the admin course. The admin course is more of, you are providing, it's the admin that are designing and developing the framework that the teachers then have to work within. And so you have to have a framework in order for the teachers to work within that framework. So it really depends on, if you feel like your teachers know how to do those things, then you might not need them to do this. Or it could be that they do this course and they still teach your teachers to do that course. I think that's just a decision that you'd have to make for your school.
And how do I have access to the shell that you were mentioning, admin course shell?
So any school that registers their teacher, at least one teacher, that administrator will get access to the admin course, the admin shell.
Okay.
So it's basically the teacher course without any students that are in it, and you'll just get to see the tasks and the engagements that the teachers will go through. So you will know, for example, oh, they're going to be working on master competencies, or they're going to submit their course map. What does that look like? Let me look at that. And then you would then send your teachers, expectations. I need you guys to submit that course map because that's something that we'll be using. Or, hey, the course map you're doing, that's for your own information. You're going to be using your master competencies and using it in our own template. So you'll be able to guide your teachers then within your school.
Jazakallah khair, Rasha, I appreciate it.
Well, yeah.
Guys, I just want to chime in here and say, if you are planning, we've had a few school leaders indicate that they want all of their staff to participate in this. We will have to make accommodations on our side to allow for that many participants. So please let me know if you are planning on registering a large number of staff or all of your staff. And inshallah, we're thinking of a way to make it really beneficial for you too, to add some, perks if you are registering all of your staff, to make that worth your while by having some in-person one-to-one meetings. And am I letting on too much right now, Resha, or can we share it with everybody?
So I'm sorry, share what?
If they register all of their staff, what you are planning to do.
Yeah, I did share that already.
Okay.
I said that we would, where is it? Provided two
there we go.
2-minute one-on-one sessions with, of course,
I was reading through the chat at the time. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay,
no
great.
problem.
Alhamdulillah. All right, guys. And I haven't published the fee and the registration yet, but we are planning to keep it the same as the admin course. Again, we always incentivize membership, Islam membership. We want to make that as valuable for you as possible. So the Islam member schools, it's $99 per registrant, and non-member schools is $150 per registrant. Of course, it's worth it to become a member because you end up saving just as much or paying the same amount, and then you get additional discounts throughout the rest of the 12 months of your membership for any additional things that we offer. If membership fees or something are a problem, always reach out to us. There's certain things that we can think of and discuss. But we feel that this is a really great value for the course. It's 3 weeks of really, really professional and in-depth training, inshallah. So I hope that, inshallah, that is something that it can be taken advantage of by our schools.
I did want to add one other thing. I think a lot of this is transferable to your elementary school teachers. The only thing that I feel like if you're a preschool and you're considering enrolling your preschool teachers, some of it is applicable, some of it might not be applicable. That is not my forte. And so I just want to be upfront about that. I don't speak 5-year-old. I really respect all of those who do speak 5-year-old. I barely spoke 5-year-old to my own 5-year-old when they were 5 years old. And so I would say, that is I want to just be transparent about that as far as the pre-K, K to K age.
And the other thing I saw come up was, is this applicable for Islamic studies in Arabic? And I would say, of course. Resha?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's actually applicable to a whole lot of things. If you're a teacher in a classroom having to engage with students and you're going to now do it online, this will be applicable to you. Except if you're, pre-K teacher, it might not be.
Okay. All right. I'm going to close this, and I've got one other point announcement.